I was raised listening to some of the greatest gospel artists known to men. That included Marvin Sapp, Donnie McClurkin, and Kirk Franklin. I was so excited to have the opportunity to sit down with them during their Kingsmen tour, but I didn't want to ask the questions everyone else asked. I wanted to hear what they had to say about some tough issues. Let's talk about restoration and restoring. In the African American community, a lot of the ones that are raising the children are single women.
I don't think that we will ever be able to fully address the issue of single parents and fatherless children in our society until we have a hard, transparent conversation about the cultural view and the social view of sex.
Here you see a platform of three different phases of fatherhood. You see a husband who's raising his children with his wife. You see a widow who's raising his children alone. And you're seeing an unwed father who had a child out of wedlock. And when you say in the African American community, I kind of cringe, because I know it's been an ethnic situation for a long time, but now it's become a multicultural situation.
My God.
Now you have television shows, teen moms, and you have Caucasian, Hispanic, as well as Black, and it's become a fad now to have children outside of wedlock, because they're seeing the celebrities do it. They're seeing this celebrity living with their boyfriend, having children, and it's become a part of the pop culture.
Absolutely.
And what they're not taking into consideration is the ramifications and the effect that it has on the child. Because what you're doing for sport, you know, sex is no longer taboo, it's recreational.
Yeah. The reason why is because sex, if it is viewed as a casual experience in Western civilization, we forget that sex most of the time will lead to children.
Absolutely.
Note the reason why single mothers are not going up to the PTA meetings as much and being involved in the school programs as much is because what little girl, as a little girl, thinks, when I grow up, when I become 15 or 17, I want to have a baby by a guy that leaves me,
or 13,
leaves me and is never around. That's what I want to be when I grow up. So the mama's mad because her dream is not happening the way she wants it to be. So she's not engaged and involved in the school. The boy was out for a good time that night. He wasn't planning to be a daddy, so neither one of them are happy about the role. Now the society is forcing them to play the role. But if we don't talk about sex, we're having a mute discussion, because sex leads to children.
At this point, I found out that Marvin Sapp has taken his message a step further by turning his faith into action.
I'm an organizer of a charter school dealing with the most difficult transitional time of children, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, adding a grade every year. And it's the first ever performing arts middle and high school in West Michigan. And I think one of the major lessons that I've learned is that children need their fathers.
Yeah, buddy.
Have you ever heard the expression real talk? Well, this is real talk.
I'm dealing with situations even in our ministry. I got to deal with a 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl who's having all manner of sex and still consider herself a virgin because she hasn't had vaginal sex.
It's the end result of abstinence that will be the goal, meaning whether it's the teaching of self-value or learning how to see yourself through the lens of how God sees you.
Marvin, Donnie, and Kirk were very enlightening and helped me to realize how much work we still need to do. We can only guide the next generation in the right direction if we have the Word of God in our hearts.
The reason why the gospel survived so many centuries is because Jewish people took serious of the fact that their child could not leave the house without being able to regurgitate the Torah and all of the laws of the Old Testament, that they had to be able to repeat it, and they had to be able to have it written on the tablets of their heart, as Paul would say. That's why Paul used those illustrations of writing it on the tablet of your heart, because Paul said, I wouldn't have known what sin was until the law said, do not sin. And so it is not pointing out what's wrong that's going to get people to do what's right. It's pointing out what's right that gets people to do even righter.
If that's good, if that's a word.
If that's a word. If that's a word.